Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday and another day closer to Christmas. We're getting closer. This is downstairs in my house. I'm in a new place where there's another fireplace, a cozy little place to read a story. I have a basket full of books there. There's the stockings hung. Some of our stockings. And there's another Christmas tree down here. This is my USA tree, my America tree. Oh, do you see snowmen and Santa? Stars, stripes and angels and all kinds of things on that tree. And here's today's story. It's called Oliver All Alone, written by Christine Harris, and the pictures were made by Catherine Walters. Yesterday's story was about a dog. Do you remember his name? Carl. This dog's name is Oliver. Oliver All Alone. So we have two stories about dogs at Christmas time. I want you to be thinking about how the Carl story, Carl's Christmas, and this story, how are they alike? How are they different? Look at this cute little dog, Oliver. He's a puppy. He's a young dog. Was Carl a puppy? No, Carl was a grown-up dog, wasn't he? So even though they're alike because they're both dogs, one was an old dog, and this dog is a puppy. So when we look at two stories, we can think about what makes them alike and how are they different. Let's look inside Oliver All Alone. I wonder why he's all alone. Remember in Carl, the story about Carl the dog, he stayed to babysit the baby, didn't he, at home when the mother and father went out to go to church before Christmas. Let's see if this dog is going to be left all alone at Christmas. I wonder. Oliver All Alone. What's he got in his mouth? Is that it's a stocking, isn't it? Do you think he took a stocking off the fireplace? Well, Carl, in the story about Carl's Christmas, he was a very, very good dog, wasn't he? And he took care of that baby so well. Let's see if Oliver is a good dog, too. Oh, there goes the family. They're leaving, aren't they? Where do you think they're going? And look at little Oliver, the puppy. He doesn't look like he gets to go. Oliver stood in the hall with his leash in his mouth and watched his family walk out the front door. "Sorry, Oliver," said Mom. "We're going to visit Grandma for Christmas Eve, and they don't allow puppies in the hospital. We'll be back soon." Oliver heard the crunch, crunch of their footsteps on the snow and the slam of the car doors. He couldn't go, could he? He was left just like Carl in that yesterday's story was left. And there goes Oliver up the stairs. He's got something in his mouth, doesn't he? Up to the stairs he goes. He dropped his leash on the doormat and cried. He didn't like being alone. The house seemed so big and empty and dark. Suddenly he heard something thump, thump, thump. Was it down the hall? The strange noise was coming from upstairs. Oliver flung his head back and howled, "Ow!" What could be making that scary sound upstairs? Was it a monster? He had to find out. Carrying his favorite toy for comfort, Oliver crept up the stairs. Oh, he's got a peek in the room. He prowled along the landing with his tummy close to the carpet and peered into Mom and Dad's bedroom. There on the bed sat a bulging, stringy-tailed beast. What could that be? Is that what's thumping? Grrr, growled Oliver. As fiercely as he could, he launched up and jumped his small body on the stringy-tailed monster, snarling as he shook it to bits. Just when he was feeling very proud of himself, he heard another thump, thump, thump. But now the noise was coming from somewhere else. Oh, he's tearing up and chewing. Those look like presents. That wasn't a monster. Those were presents on the bed. Oh no, Oliver. That wasn't a scary monster. Those were presents. Oliver raced to the window, stood on his hind legs, and looked out. A tall white stranger stared up at him. What is that out the window? Is that a snowman? Oliver's not sure what it is. As he's looking, he heard another thump, thump, thump. Oliver barked and scratched at the window. If only he could get outside and chase that stranger away. He barked and barked, but the snowy figure didn't budge. The little dog was making so much noise that he almost didn't hear another thump, thump, thump. This time it was coming from behind him. There's Oliver barking in the house. He's barking at the snowman. It's just a snowman, Oliver. There he comes back down the stairs to find out what does he see? With a surprised yelp, Oliver skedaddled down the stairs, heading for the safety of his blanket in the kitchen. But between him and his bed, there was a huge, lumpy-shaped thing crouched on the kitchen table. What could that be on the table? Is that what's making the thumping noise? Before the creature could spring on top of him, Oliver decided to pull it down from its perch. He grabbed one end of the tablecloth and he tugged with all his might. The lumpy thing tumbled to the floor. Crash! Oliver butted it with his nose. It felt as cold as ice and as hard as stone. But it smelled good. Thump, thump, thump. The noise interrupted Oliver's inspection. What was that? That's the turkey for Christmas dinner. That wasn't a monster. Oh no, Oliver. No. Oh, what a puppy. He's making a mess, isn't he? What will the family think? The puppy crept out of the kitchen and into the family room. There beside the funny tree with the blinking lights was a fat, wrinkled creature. It frowned at Oliver, but it didn't move. What could it be? Oliver took a closer look. Oliver pounced, and he grabbed the creature, and as it fell sideways, he chewed it and opened its long, slippery arms wrapped around him. Oliver bit and pulled at them until he managed to struggle free. Thump, thump, thump! He's tearing it apart, isn't he? There was that noise again. Now it was coming from the living room. Oliver's trying to protect the house, isn't he, and find that noise. What could be in the living room? This time Oliver was determined to find out what was making that thumping sound. Being careful not to alert the intruder, the puppy quietly snuck toward the living room door and caught the thumping creature at last. Barking furiously, he raced into the room. Who did he find in the living room? Santa. He found a nice smiling man, not a monster at all. Ho, 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 I'm early tonight, said the visitor. It looks like everyone is out except you. Did they leave you to guard the house? Well, you're a very brave little puppy to come rushing in like this. Ho, ho, ho. Oliver wagged his tail but felt a little scared. The man chuckled and said, I have a very special little present for good dogs like you. He pulled a big bone from his bag and gave it to the excited puppy. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Just then Oliver heard the front door open. Oliver, we're back. Oliver bounded into the hall, and there was his family home at last. Why, Oliver, who gave you that bone? But Oliver just thumped his tail on the floor. Thump, thump, thump. And there goes Santa. Ho, ho, ho. Santa brought them presents and even brought Oliver a present. The end. But oh dear, is the family going to find out the trouble that little Oliver got into in the house? He tore up the presents on the bed. He knocked the turkey off the table. He tore open a present under the table. Oh dear. Who was a good dog? Carl in the story with where he babysat the baby, or the little puppy? Yeah, I think Carl was a good dog, wasn't he? And the puppy, well, he just thought he was trying to protect his family. Oliver all alone. Carl wasn't really left alone. He had to take care of the baby in the house. But this little Oliver, he was left all alone, and he got into some trouble, didn't he? He was a scared little puppy and wanted to protect his family. Oliver all alone. Thank you for joining me in front of my fire on a cozy night. I hope you're getting ready for Christmas at home and just can't wait. 10 more days till Santa will be bringing presents under our tree. We'll be celebrating Jesus' birthday. Right now it's Advent, isn't it? Advent is a time to wait, not quite time to celebrate. Count the candles one by one until Advent time is done. Day by day we work and play to prepare for Christmas Day.